Hey, today, I want to talk to you about Valentine's Day. And it used to be that Valentine's Day would give me a lot of anxiety. And it was because I thought that I need to pick out the most fantastic present or go to the nicest restaurant or write her a sonnet. And it gave me a lot of anxiety and a lot of worry and a lot of guilt if I didn't do or say the right thing. And I've been looking at this one a lot, and I've come to a realization about it that I really want to talk to the guys about. So, guys, this message is for you. It's not unless you're with someone that is more about the material things, then you got it covered. You can just buy her a diamond ring or get her a new car or take her to the fanciest restaurant, and that'll work. But for me, I wanted something. I felt like buying the right thing or doing the right thing as far as writing the sonnet or the poem that said the right thing. It was a lot of pressure every year. So I realized that what I really wanted to do is I wanted a deeper connection. I wanted more intimacy in my relationship. And if that's for you, then this message is for you. So one of the things that us guys can do is we can start to take away their burden. Because when you take away your beloved's burden, she is able to relax, and she's able to fall more into her trust, and she starts to feel safe. And when she starts to feel safe and trust, starts to activate her sexuality and her creativity and her nurturing and her receiving. And that, for you, is a good thing. So imagine that as a woman that is more into her doing, has got to take care of things and all these jobs and tasks, she starts going more into her masculine energy, which is not so great for you. So the more that you can do to take away those burdens, the more it's going to be, it's going to be better for you. So some of the things practically that you can do is you can set up the candles and the incense and the music and do all those. If you want something to do, those are the things that you can do. If there's any task that she's normally taking care of, doing the dishes, cleaning the house, maybe you could do some of those things so that she has more space around her so that she can start being herself again. The other thing that you can do is start making some kind of a commitment of really connecting with her on a deeper level. And what I mean by that is, like, one thing that you can do is there's this thing called love languages. You can find out what your way of expressing love is and what hers is. So a couple of them are giving gifts, physical touch, quality time, things like that. So you can find out more about each other that way. The other thing that you can do is make a commitment that you'll start expressing things to her, that you'll start to tell her how you feel about something without aggression and without anger, getting more closer to her to find out what it is that really stirs you, what your passions are. Start showing her that you really can understand her, that you're the right person for her to go to, so you're a good listener for her, that you don't want to go right into fixing. That's a big one. So if she feels like she can go to you and that you'll be a good listener, not that you'll completely understand everything that she's going through, but that you can listen to her and maybe even repeat back to her, what you think she said and get some clarity. Another thing that you can do is make another commitment to really work on yourself. And you can imagine that maybe the woman that you're looking for, or the relationship that you're looking for, is with a woman that really starts to fulfill the needs that you've had you've had all your life. But it's going to take a little bit of work on your part. So one of the things that you can imagine is one guy that's doing one thing where he's just buying gifts and doing these things, the normal suggested activities for Valentine's Day, and then to get another guy that really wants to work on himself, that says, hey babe, this is the work that I'm doing on myself. I'm not just trying to be more successful, but I'm trying to evolve as a human being. And I want to look at my stuff. I want to look at my my old beliefs about myself and my triggers and my things like that. So it's not something that's going to happen overnight, but if you can commit to her that, hey, this is just something that I'm going to work on. It's not going to be the same old dynamics that we've been having in the past where we start getting further and further away from each other. This is actually something that I've committed to work on. So you find yourself a teacher, a counselor, a shaman, something, and I would suggest something, if it's going to be therapy, also look at something beyond therapy. So alternative therapy, shamanism, looking for someone that can speak outside the box. So those are things that really go a long way for really clearing those limiting beliefs and causing yourself to create a new version of you. And I know this is something that I went through too, that it's this thought in my head of, well, this is kind of me, you know. I'll be 60 in a couple of years, and I would think to myself, well, I'm kind of at the end of my road here, maybe, and this is about as good as it's going to get. So, but I didn't realize that I was being invited to pull out another version of myself, and it was only my mind that was controlling me, saying, "You don't have to do nothing. You're good. You just have to deal with it. And if you can't love me here, then you'll never love me." It's all the overactive mind. But here's something that I'd like to invite you to consider. What she needs you to be is what you long to become, and you just haven't known how. And what you need her to be is what she longs to become, and she just hasn't known how. So in the past, you guys have just been stuck in this loop, this dynamic that it's more about her ego against your ego. And excuse me, it may be his ego against your ego if you're in a homosexual relationship. Don't want to leave that out. So I would just say that you might consider that there's something that is being pulled out of you, and you've been resisting it for a long time. And if this isn't for you, then this is the wrong video for you. But if it's starting to hit a little nerve in you, then this might be something for you to think about. It's not about the things you buy or the reservations you make or the poem that you write. It's really about connecting with her on a deeper level, or connecting with him on a deeper level. You may have said, "I love you, I love you, I love you" 1,000,000 times. When is the last time that you got on your knees? When is the last time that tears welled up in your eyes about the feeling of love that you have for her or him? When is the time that you got to express that so deeply? And if that's not in your being to express that you're actually not feeling that, then there's something to look at there. And I would invite you also to not settle for. But before you make any decisions, I would say do your work first. Find out what your patterns and programs and beliefs have been in the past, and work on those, and then see where you're at. One of the things that was really strong for me is I've been in this guilt and obligation for a long time in my life, and it kind of ran my life until a few years ago. And one of the things that I really realized is that I had been limiting the love in my life by limiting the love that I would give out and the love that I would receive in my relationships. And when I finally, and through the help of all of my relationships, finally allowed 100% of me to love myself by allowing someone into me 100%, that's when everything changed. And that's man, I wish I could just yell this to the world, that I wish we could turn Valentine's Day, instead of a gift-giving, reservation-making, sonnet-creating holiday that was apparently created by, as a marketing thing, if we could create it into a way to love yourself so completely. Because once I figured out what my mind was telling me that was limiting love to fully come into me, once I finally figured that out, now I truly experience really loving myself 100%. And when you let that win 100%, then everything has to shift. And I got to tell you, I'm working with this guy, and I've been counseling him for a number of months, and he's been doing all this work. He's been doing breath work and really, self-inquiry and looking at himself, and he's had a lot of stuff to look at, and he's really doing the work, and he's really shifting, and he's got multiple, he's got a regular therapist and a guy that has him look at all of his stuff, that's his patterns and everything, and then he's got me. And funny thing happened is that his wife changed, and he was complaining for a while about, how come I'm doing all this work and she's not doing anything? And wouldn't you know it, that during all this work, she has been shifting. So just a little note there, that when you do your work, things around you have to shift. And it goes back to this spiritual concept of we create our own reality. And it really is true. When he did the work without her doing much, or maybe she was doing some work but just not seeking outside therapists and counseling and shamanism and whatever else was in that, and it looked like she wasn't doing anything, and yet when he shifted, she shifted. So just something to consider there. Hope I made myself clear on practical things that you can do to make Valentine's Day less stressful and less full of anxiety, and something that can actually bring you two closer and create a better relationship. Thank you.